today we've had a bunch of people just pull up into the studio. It's fine.
Yeah, just like walk in.
But Mike Brown talked about one of the adjustments the Kings make, or one of the adjustments the Kings can make offensively this year is Domas shooting more threes. He wants Domas to shoot 3 to 5 a game. And Domas talked about it at practice yesterday. He posted the video at James_HamNBA on Twitter. Subscribe to the Kings Beat and listen to the Kings Beat podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Here's Domas talking about shooting more 3-pointers.
Talked a little bit about 3-point shooting, and he's okay with you maybe even encouraging you to maybe get up to like 3, 4, 5 attempts a game. Is that what are your thoughts on that?
That's definitely true. But trying to find moments in the game where I can do that, without also trying to find a balance with my playmaking. So as the preseason games go on, that's where I can start to try and test those waters.
You've been pretty efficient, like out there when you do shoot them. Does that give you confidence to maybe increase that number a little bit?
Yeah, of course. In the past when I have, like you said, when I have shoot them, it's a decent clip. So I just gotta shoot them more with confidence.
How do you find the balance? Because you're a naturally unselfish player, and it just seems to be counter to who you are.
It's tough because sometimes when I do pass up a shot, it will lead to another play for someone else or an easy bucket. You know what I mean? So it's I just have to find the rhythm.
So here's and this is going to be the push-pull all year, pause on this, because he says when you asked him, your natural inclination as a player is to pass. That's your unselfish tendency. And he says there, like, because sometimes when I pass up a shot, it's getting passing up a good shot for a great shot, or I get somebody else a good look. And I fully understand that. I that is cut and dry. Domas believes, hey, I can be up here at the top of the key shooting this 3 at 35%. Or if I wait for a second, I can hit Keegan on a backdoor cut and he's got a layup, right? Like I understand that is fundamentally how that works to him and how that has worked to him and how he's been so successful. On the other hand, I think that there's an opportunity if he does start shooting, let's call it, I'm just going to say 3. I'm going to call it 4. Because I don't want to say 3 threes. Let's say he starts taking 4 3-pointers a game. That's just, let's land on that number for now. I understand that maybe that means there's not an easy basket for Keegan or whoever. But at the same time, it changes if he can stay efficient and shoot, what do you think? 35%?
Yeah.
Is that
35, 36?
35.
Yeah.
A good enough percentage that teams don't go, okay, great. Yeah, you blaze away, big guy. Like, go ahead. Making teams come out and defend you differently, I think will open up the offense more, open up the floor more. And I think by virtue of doing that, he can, I'm saying he can do both. He can thread the needle of, shooting more threes and hitting them at an efficient clip may change how teams are defending you, thus getting even more open shots for your teammates than you would get if you didn't shoot those threes. Did I articulate that correctly?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And like I went through and I looked at the stats, and Domantas Sabonis in the first half of the season was like shot like 42% from 3. And this in the second, the post All-Star break like stretch, he only took 26 threes in 28 games. That's not enough. And he only hit 7 of them. So his percentage was all the way down to like 26%. If he would have shot 3 more threes, if he would have hit 3 more threes, he would have shot like 38-point-something%.
Yeah.
So the small sample size of only taking 26 threes, it hurt him. And I don't think it helped the Kings, especially as they got to a point where they needed more scoring and they needed more perimeter shooting once you lost Monk, once you lost Kevin Huerter. But I think that this is going to be the problem with Domas. It's not that he's going to be bad at shooting threes, because Sabonis is a player who, whatever his weaknesses are, he tries to work on them in the offseason. He's with Doug Christie the entire summer working out and trying to get better at the game of basketball. And sometimes, like, we've seen that, like, again, he's better at shooting the 3. The 3 is going in more than it's not. But that doesn't change who he is as a player. And I really do think he's going to be fighting this the whole time because he doesn't want to be selfish. And because this is a player that averaged, 8 assists per game last season.
Yeah.
And this is, his role with this team is to be a quarterback, to make sure that everybody is getting to eat. And I think he's going to struggle with the idea that he has to shoot it. There are at least 3 or 4 times a game where he has an opportunity to take a 3 and he does not pull the trigger. That's where you need him to automatically lock in and do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you can still, I still think he can very easily average 8 assists a game, because not every 3 that he passes up leads to an assist.
Yeah.
Like not every 3. There are so many times, and this is another aspect of this. We talked about this at games together. Domas misses his first 3.
Over.
Chances are he's not taking another one.
Yes.
And defenses know that. So now not only do you have defenses sagging off because, hey, we're going to make you prove you can hit it. But now they know, hey, he missed the first one. God forbid he misses 2. Hey, when he's out there, don't bother.
Yep.
We're going to play 4-on-5 and he can stand out there and look. And that's, and again, he's been successful with it. I totally get it. And I get why he's 27, 28 years old now. He's been playing this style for so long and he's had so much success with it that it's not going to be super easy in one offseason to be like, yeah, I'm just going to start shooting 3s now. But at the same time, I think there's so much value in it for the Kings offense. If he can shoot 4 a game, hit 35%, I think it just opens up. You start to talk all this talk already about like, oh, what's their spacing going to look like? Hey, all right, well, there it is. There's your big man shooting 36% and he's shooting 3 to 4 a game.
Yep.
I'm really, really interested to see how that plays out over the course of the year, because it's not like Mike Brown gives a guy a green light and the guy suddenly goes, great, I'm going to start shooting it. Keegan's had a green light. Keegan's had the greenest light.
Yeah.
And it's still been a little hesitation here, a little hesitation there. So I'm interested to see how that evolves, because they've got to learn. And we've heard Domas say this when you were out at his camp. And he said, we got to learn to play around DeMar DeRozan. So there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment there. And then B, how off of that is one of those adjustments just off the dribble handoff. Domas just takes a step back behind the 3, and that's a kick out option for DeMar. Or
yes,
is it right? Like, is that what it is? Or is it, man, hey, you know what? Sometimes we're going to get out on the break and you're going to have a trailer. Just launch it.
That's what the trailing 3 is what I would love to see.
Yeah.
Because there are so many opportunities. But I also feel like in the half court, there's potential for him shooting more 3s to gum up the DHO game. Because we talk about this, well, if he starts shooting and hitting 3s, then his man is going to have to come out. Well, now, as opposed to what's been happening in the last 2 years in Sacramento, where you're able to run all of these dribble handoffs off the top of him because his man is sagging all the way. So now all he has to do is pick one guy. He doesn't have to worry about the other guy because the other guy's already sagging 5 feet off. So now what you've done is there's a potential for this to crowd the DHO game if he does hit the 3. And I don't know. I want to see how it works in functionality. But now you're opening,
and that's fair. But now you're opening space under the basket.
Maybe.
Like, great. Isn't that the goal, is to pull the center away? Like, now I don't.
Well, when the goal is to shoot 35 threes a game, I don't know.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So like, it's going to be complex. Like, I don't think there is a butterfly effect to anything that you do as a player.
No doubt.
And for me, like, I really like the player that Sabonis is. I like the fact that he averaged, 19.4 points, 8.2 assists, and 13.7 rebounds last year. I think the Kings they've put an emphasis on offensive rebounding this year. So you're going to see the guys in the corners crashing a lot more, right? Going for rebounds, offensive rebounds.
Yeah, it can't be Domas by himself down there.
No. And so I think if you have those crashers, it will give you more opportunity to have Sabonis as a trailer or as a 3-point shooter, catch and shoot, whatever it is. He doesn't need to create. He doesn't have to get fancy. This is going to be very, very like specific situation where he has an open look and he needs to stop tapping his foot and stop pump faking and just actually take the shot.
Yeah, man, that would just, because you get out on the run, you get it to Domas as a trailer, and then he stops and he's looking at it. It's like, no, just put it up.
Yeah.
Shoot it. We're trying to keep pace here, man.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So hopefully, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe DeMar DeRozan brings enough offensive creation, and enough shot making with De'Aaron Fox, with Malik Monk that, hey, you know what? Domas is a factor. Scoring doesn't matter what he does. He's going to get his points, barreling through centers and getting his rebounds and putbacks, and he's going to get to 18 to 20 points that way. And the 3-pointers just don't matter. But man, I think the maximized version of this Kings offense is just that. Again, not trying to design 3-pointers for him. And some games he's not going to shoot any. Some games he might shoot 6.
Yeah.
But just trying to, within the flow of the offense, because they're there for him within the offense. And that's what I've been misconveying in this. I'm not saying they need to design threes for Domas. But when they are there, and we've done it, we've sat at games together and been like, you got to shoot that. You got to shoot that.
Yep.
Nope. All right. Ball's back on the floor. They're into the offense. There's 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Hopefully De'Aaron Fox can get to the mid-range. Like that. That's just, I think the offense will be more efficient if they start utilizing that more often. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that's how DeMar fits is obviously the top thing everyone's watching. But B, whether Domas does that or not is going to be the other thing that I'm keeping a very, very close eye on.
Yeah, I agree. And like, look, last year, Harrison Barnes averaged 4.7 3-point attempts per game. You need to find a way to make up for those because you're looking at DeRozan, who's around 2.8 threes per game. In order to keep that spacing, DeRozan needs to shoot 3.5 threes a game, but his percentages are way lower career-wise or like over the last couple of years than what we've seen from Sabonis. So you kind of have to pick your poison there and say, okay, can I get 1.5 more out of Domas and can I get 0.7 more out of
Sure.
DeRozan and somehow come up with a formula that gets closer to what your offense looked like last year? And maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I definitely think that there's room for improvement from Sabonis, not just in the percentage, but in the just the raw number of threes that he takes.
I can't wait for basketball, man.
Yeah,
I'm so fascinated by what this is going to look like. There's 2 reasons for excitement. One, it's so new, it's so different. This isn't Chris Duarte, right? This is not. Oh yeah, Jalen McDaniels. Like throw him in there and see what it looks like. Now, this is just a player who's going to fundamentally change what the Kings are doing offensively. Now you've got the coach talking about fundamentally changing what their center does, their offensive focal point. A, that's exciting just because it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And B, it's like, dude, they might just be good as hell. Like the more we talk about this and the more, here's what this sounds so counterintuitive and this sounds so dumb. This sounds so sports radio. It's illogical. This is not, there's no empirical data to back this up. It's just a vibe. And that's what I go off a lot of the time. I listen to a couple different NBA podcasts. I read various NBA writers, and the amount of people that just are like, yeah, the Kings are what they're 46, 48 when I think the Ringer NBA show their power rankings, they had the Kings at 17, something like that. 17, I think 17, 18, Ooh. somewhere below 15, like below the middle mark.
Okay.
And it's just like, man, does being in Sacramento just give me purple colored glasses? Like maybe that's it. Maybe just talking to people around the team, and there's the vibes are great with the team, and there's optimism there. Maybe that's coloring my view of what the Kings are. Maybe their defense and their second unit is just abysmal, and they just get run off the floor with their second unit, even with Malik out there. Sure, maybe, but like I can't get there. And maybe I'm just Kings pilled doing radio here and doing media here for so long, but I think they're going to be really good. And all the people at True Hoop.
Yeah. You said David Thorpe.
Yeah, David Thorpe had him at like 46 wins. You got the Ringer NBA show guys who, this is not Kevin O'Con, man. This is Wosny Lambre and Justin Verrier and Rob Mahoney. Like I think they're not perfect basketball analysts, but I think they're generally pretty objective. And I'm like, man, am I missing something here? Like I just, and all the people going like, yeah, 46 wins, yeah, they're 18th best, 17th best team in the league, whatever. I just, all of that helps my vibe with the Kings. And it's just like, man, they're gonna win like 52 games. They might just be they might just be like 3 or 4 seed, and everyone's gonna be like, whoa, the Kings. It's like, yeah, man, we've been here. We're letting you know.
I'm with
maybe
you.
I'm I don't know. I might be crazy.
I don't think you're off base, man. Like, we'll do like a prediction show like right before the start of the season. Like, we'll go through and look at, how many wins we think they'll get. We'll look at who their MVP might be and all that stuff. Their breakout player of the year. But for me, like, this team is really, really strong at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned about the injuries, and I'm concerned about the depth right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm concerned about I'm concerned that they aren't getting the same challenge in training camp that they have historically. Like, you have so many players, rotational players that are sitting right now that aren't there every day. Yeah. That it's really like, we always, there's all these sports cliches and stuff, like the iron sharpens iron thing. It's a little rough. Like, when you're playing against, third and fourth team guys every day in training camp because your second team guys are just all gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good situation to be in.
Good point.
And so I think the preseason is going to be extremely important for this team.
Starts tomorrow.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow against Golden State Warriors, 7:30 start, ESPN.
Watch out for Lindy Waters.
Yeah, there you go. But I think it's one of those things where we won't know what they look like until they get on the floor against somebody else and start playing actual basketball. And that's because, first of all, you don't get to see a lot of training camp. But secondly, the guys they're going up against aren't historically NBA players. They're not seasoned, experienced NBA players. And that's a difficult thing to overcome. So I'm hoping that they start getting guys back. I'm hoping that Kevin Huerter and Jordan McLaughlin and, again, Trey Lyles, like, these guys get back on the court. But there's a big difference. Like, just think of it that way. Like,
yeah,
what if they're not playing on day one of the regular season and you're going in with some guys who don't have experience? You would instantly think, oh, that's not a good thing, right? Yeah. Well, what would make it a good thing that's who your starters are practicing against every single day? And it's a little rough. So, and that's not to call these guys out. I mean, there's nothing you can do to get more experience except for play the game. Mm-hmm. And so it's a good thing that some of these guys are getting a ton more reps than they would normally. It's good for them, but it might not be good for the whole. Yeah. And that's a problem.
Yeah, no doubt. I can't wait to overreact to the game tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, Thursday I'm coming in hot. Whatever happens in that game, I'm making sweeping declarations.
Well, keep in mind, though, that the Warriors have already played games.
I think they played one.
Okay. But one game against other opponents.
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't care about preseason at all.
Oh, no.
I'm excited to see the starters and what that looks like. Excited to see, Colby Jones, obviously. Colby Jones fan club. We're in the house. Mason Jones, obviously, some of the guys, Isaac Jones, Isaiah Crawford, seeing those guys move around.
Say Jones and Ellis. I'm just excited to see Jones and Ellis. That encompasses like 7 players right there.
Right. Just to kind of see, but that's more, what does this look like? And is there potential long-term contributions here?
Yeah.
Not like, hey, any of those guys are going to have a major impact on this year. I'm just not. Who is the guy for the Kings that had the huge preseason summer league game and that like opener? Law? No. He had Arms?
Oh, yeah. Adonis Arms.
Adonis Arms, yes.
Oh man, what happened to Adonis Arms?
I don't know. But he was like, that's kind of what.
Yeah.
That exact type of performance is why I'm 100% not going to overreact, but I'm going to do it for the radio.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have fun with that.
I'm here for your overreactions Thursday. Overreaction.
We're going to have fun with it for sure. All right. He's James Hammond.